Hey guys, we got some news here regarding the Batwoman TV show that will be coming out in 2019, or that's set to premiere in the DC CW crossover event in December, and then potentially get a show coming out in 2019. So it's really going to be interesting to see where things go with this, and they've just announced that they've just cast Ruby Rose as Kate Kane Batwoman. I think this is a really interesting idea for a casting. I heard this earlier today, but I was at work, so I couldn't obviously do a video. But so here we go. We have it came out from the site, went all over the place, and Ruby Rose has even commented on it on her Instagram, saying that the bat is out of the bag. And I am beyond thrilled and honored. I'm also emotional wrecked because this is a childhood dream. This is something I would have died to have seen on TV when I was a young member of the LGBT community who never felt represented on TV and felt alone and different. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, God. And I think this is really interesting. The casting is really interesting with Ruby Rose. I mean, I've seen her in a few things. I've seen her in Orange is the New Black. She was okay in there, but nothing really standing out, you know. And she's kind of been somewhat the same character so far from what I've seen. I don't think I've seen her really in anything else but that. You know, she was in Triple X with Vin Diesel, and she's in the Meg right now, but nothing really kind of, you know, really big, and she kind of plays the same character in every one of the movies. She was good in John Wick. I don't really remember her character in that. It's just John Wick was a good movie, John Wick 2 and stuff. She was in that one. But it's really going to be cool to see where they go with this. So maybe they got her and they figured, yes, she can do what they want for the role, and I think that's going to be quite interesting to see that. And I did hear the whole thing about them, you know, wanting to cast an LGBT actress and stuff for the role, and I think that's a good idea and all, but it's, for me, I just rather, you know, you didn't cast you know, Kyler Lee, who plays Alex Danvers. She's not gay, she's not a lesbian, and yet she's doing that, so why can't that work, you know? So it's just, hopefully they didn't go for the big name and someone who's LGBT, and that didn't narrow down their search so much that this is what we're stuck with, which I don't think so. I feel like Ruby Rose, she looks like the Batwoman. I think she's really going to be good in that role. I think she could be interesting there. It's just, like I said, she's always played that one role so far and hasn't really been, you know, she's never been anywhere. She was never going to be been in anything where she could really sink her teeth in as far as acting, and I don't know if that's really where anything where she could go with that. So it's really going to be cool to see where she goes and how she plays this role and how they decide to go with this. I think it could be quite interesting to see that. We'll have to wait and see where things go with her and how things kind of continue on, and it'll be cool to see where things go since they've cast her in the role. Now, I think it's going to be interesting to see because they're supposed to be do the crossover, and she'll be the main plot point in the crossover, and then they'll be able to kick off the do a pilot, and they'll kick off, see if it gets a season, and that'll be interesting to see is if it doesn't get a season, which it most likely will, unless, you know, people it's terrible, you know, and everyone hates her, the crossover type thing, and she's terrible in the role, then we might never see her again, you know. She'll do the crossover and that's it. But other than that, I think she should be okay in the role. I mean, I really don't know really where to see. I watched a bunch of different people's opinions on YouTube before I did this video just to get an idea as to what the consensus are. And some people like the casting but don't like her specifically. So I don't know. I think it could be interesting to see where things are going with this. It's just, you know, people have been playing gay and lesbian characters, you know, and they're not for the longest time. And it's just, you know, I don't know why. Like, I just hope that it didn't narrow down the search too much, but you know, it definitely is an interesting idea, and it'll be cool to see where things will go with the character and how it'll help the character influence. And also, it's gonna be cool to see. Hopefully, if they're obviously doing the crossover with Kathy Kane or Kate Kane, and they want to do, or Catherine Kane, they want to do the LGBT character, they're definitely gonna have to have a scene between, you know, I guess maybe, I don't know who's she gonna hook up with first, Alex Danvers or Alex Danvers or I think, or Sarah Lance. I think that would be an interesting idea to see that, to see who she goes for there, and then to see that kind of relationship there, to see where things are going to go. So it's going to be quite cool to see where things go with this. I think we also got some news before that based on the Batgirl show will not be acknowledging Batman. So I think that'll be quite difficult to see how they do that. But yet if they do that kind of, you know, she's on a different Earth, that could be an interesting idea too. And that could be a way to not have to talk about Batman. But the whole different Earth things and Supergirl, I kind of really really hate that idea, because whatever the cast, the supporting cast can't just walk over to each other's shows, and I love when they do that on Arrow and Flash, when Diggle just goes over to Flash or Cisco goes over to Arrow type thing, and they just walk over and there's no need. It's just, hey, I'm going to Star City, peace. That's it. That's all I need to say. And whereas if they're in a different Earth, they can't really do that. They're only meeting up for the big crossovers. That's it. Instead of going over for the little things and just making it more, connected and stuff. So I think it would be quite interesting to see where things are going to go with this, because I think if she was on the same Earth, if everyone is on the same Earth, it would be quite cool to see maybe Alex Danvers goes over to Batgirl for a season, and dates Catherine Kane, or something like that, and then maybe maybe Sarah does that, after she's done with, although I think Sarah's actually in a relationship, so maybe she wouldn't be hooking up with her during the crossover, but we'll have to wait and see where things are going to go with this. Who knows? It could be interesting to see how she does this. I wanted to try and look it up, some of her stuff, and trying to get an idea as to what she could bring to this, but the only thing I think of is John Wick, so we'll have to wait and see where things are going to go with that. I think it's going to be interesting to see how she plays it, so I think it's pretty much 50-50 from what I've seen, at least the few videos I've watched on YouTube and stuff, to see what people's opinions on this. I think it's an interesting idea that they got an actual name, whereas the names, the other, Grant Gustin, he was on Glee, but he wasn't his main star. He was just a recurring character, recurring background character, and so is Melissa Benoist, even less prominent on Glee from what I've seen online. And Stephen Amell before Arrow, I've never heard of him. So I think it's interesting that they actually went and they got a somewhat named actress type thing. I mean, she's recognizable and stuff. She's just starting, so I think some people would recognize her name and stuff. I don't think my parents would definitely recognize her name, but I think people would definitely recognize her name a little bit, so I think it's going to be interesting to see where things go with that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this casting in the comments below. Where do you think things are going to go with that, and what are you excited to see about her? Are you excited about this casting? You're not excited? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.